Woo! What's going on, guys? So I'm coming at you guys today with another video. In today's video, I want to be talking about Detroit Lions, obviously, but I'm going to be talking about a certain coach on this coaching staff, and that's the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. Um, is there a chance that Ben Johnson could be gone next year as a head coach, move on from this football team? Now, he's 36 years old, and I think the Lions fan base need to prepare themselves for the departure of this young offensive coordinator. Um, he has kept this offense in Detroit hot since last year. Last year we had Anthony Lynn. Okay, let's get to that. We had Anthony Lynn, who just wasn't a good fit for Jared Goff and this offense. There was some miscommunication apparently, from what I was reading between especially Goff and Lynn. It was very vanilla offense. It was going to be heavily run based. Didn't seem like it was a good fit for Jared Goff. No, we still run the football, and I think we are a really good running football team. But it just didn't fit the Goff's liking or whatever style. I think the whole offense was just off when Anthony Lynn was here. Then obviously he got demoted, then eventually fired. Dan Campbell, they put Ben Johnson in charge last year, and the offense flourished. Goff looked better, the offense looked better. St. Brown got better, everybody got better. They brought over Josh Reynolds. Lots of good things happened because of Ben Johnson and that offense and his scheme. And now he gets his first gig as an offensive coordinator in 2022 officially. And he is a hot commodity. This is a top 10 offense. I talk about Jared Goff. I'm not obsessed with with the Jared Goff like some people are in some fan bases and like fans in itself. I'm critical of the man. I am. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat what I feel about him. But he has gotten better as the year has gone on. Like from 2000, when the kid was drafted 2016, 2017, whatever he was drafted, he had two really great years. I believe it was 2017, 2018 for the LA Rams. And he's kind of, fallen to the wayside a bit. Young quarterback, booted out of LA for an older quarterback in Matthew Stafford. He was kind of declining at the time. I think Sean McVay was really worried about his arm and all that stuff because he hurt his thumb and his hand, whatever. And they made that trade, and he was kind of on a decline. Lions got him. It was just, it was one of those guys. Okay, he's an average quarterback. Let's see what we can do with them. Didn't look good for the first bit, and then really played well at the end of 2021. Then he's played good football. I'm not going to sit here and say he hasn't, because he has. I just don't think he's the answer. But I think Ben Johnson, I don't want to veer off here. veering off. Ben Johnson has turned Jared Goff, and I think this offense into a really top offense in the NFL. And I think it's going to be a problem coming this off season. I think it's going to be a problem because what he's done for, I think, an average quarterback. We have a good O-line invested, a lot of money in that O-line. We weren't never really considered a fantastic O-line. Now I believe we are a top 5 O-line. I think last I saw we were ranked 4th overall, passing and running. They've kept Goff clean for the most part. We run the ball well, and it all circles around Ben Johnson. Now, we have to, we go back to looking at what Ben Johnson done in his career. He was a former walk-on quarterback at North Carolina from 2004, 2007, and he graduated eventually with a degree in mathematics and computer science. And then he began coaching almost immediately in 2009. He was a graduate assistant at Boston College. Then he became a tight ends coach eventually. And then he went to the NFL, and that's where he got that, I believe he got that relationship with Dan Campbell. He was a Dolphins tight end coach in 2012. Dolphins assistant quarterback coach 2013 to 2015. Then he became the Dolphins assistant wide receivers coach from 2016 2017. Became the Dolphins wide receiver coach 2018. Then we got him 2019 offensive. He was the offensive quality control coach 2019, and then eventually he became the tight ends coach. And then we hired Dan Campbell. They had that relationship. And then now he is the new OC. And even in the past, Dan Campbell has had to protect the team's needs, or the team's kind of like, protecting him and kind of upping his job title from the Cincinnati Bengals. There's the word out there that Zach Taylor was really, really interested. Zach Taylor, if you don't know, is the Cincinnati Bengals head coach, and has tried to poach Ben Johnson a few times, I guess. And every time, Dan Campbell has had to give him a different job title, up it, pay and raise, up the title, however that works. So in order, they couldn't take him away from, they couldn't offer him money. They couldn't, however it works, that the Bengals could not take him off the Lions' hands. So he's done that a couple times, apparently. He's done that a couple times. He might have done it when Dan Campbell was the interim head coach at Miami, but I guess it's been a couple times. And the Bengals aren't the only team that has been interested in Ben Johnson, by the way. There's been other teams in the NFL that really are interested in his services. So he's a young 36-year-old guy with a really fresh mind. He's in and on top. He's up to date with everything. He's not stuck in the past. He's not one of those guys that just he's very creative. He's a creative guy, is what I'm trying to say. Not just one-dimensional. Mixes it up well, and he's done a lot of good things with this team. Like I said, he's done a lot of things with Jared Goff that I think are special. He's done a lot of things with this running attack, with this offensive line, with these wide receivers. We've had some injuries too, and he's done some good things. There have been hiccups along the way, but overall, it's been really nice. So I don't know what's going to happen in the offseason, basically, because Ben Johnson's name is good is going to be one of the hot ticket items. You have a top 10 offense. We were top 5 at one point. We were like the best at one point for a few weeks. With all the hiccups we had, we were really good there. We were elite at one point, and then things start to happen during the NFL where teams kind of adapt. Injuries catch up to you, so it happens where you're going to fall down a bit. But they haven't fallen far. They're still top 10, I believe. Right now, I think last time I did that Buffalo Bills video, I believe they were the 6th overall offense still. So they put some points on the board last week too. So I can't really see how them dropping. They're still a top 10 offense. He's going to be a guy that's going to be interested. Teams like Carolina will be looking for a head coach possibly. The teams like Houston Texans. Will there be any other teams? There could be a few. Will the Saints? They're kind of up and down too. Though they just hired Dennis Allen a couple of years ago, I believe. I can't even remember some of the teams that are probably going to look for coaches. But there's going to be 3, 4, 5 teams that are going to be looking for head coaches, and Ben Johnson is going to be one of them. Now, I don't know Ben Johnson from the hole in the ground. Like I don't know him from Adam. I can't tell you what his mindset is. Does he want to become a head coach in the NFL? I'm sure he does. He's gone up in the ranks almost every single time. If you look at his resume, he's gone up. Now he's the OC. Usually when you become an OC or a DC, defensive coordinator, you usually, your next step is, either assistant head coach or head coach in itself. Now, the one thing the Lions could do, Deuce Staley's going to get a lot of play too. So it's not only going to be Ben Johnson, but Deuce Staley, our running back coach, is probably going to get a lot of smoke coming the offseason time, where they're going to be looking for possibly him to become a head coach. Now, he's our assistant head coach right now. Does Dan Campbell make that decision, to let him go? Well, it's not going to be his decision, but these guys obviously chit chat, they talk. These guys know what each other want. It's doing Deuce a solid and saying, man, go become that head coach, or go become that next great head coach. You've done a great service here in Detroit. Do we let him go? Do we let Ben Johnson go? It's going to be some decisions being made in this organization. There's going to be some decisions, but Ben Johnson's going to be one of them. Now, remember, you get rid of Ben Johnson next year. I'm not saying this offense is going to be completely different, but the playbook will be different. Especially if this regime decides to keep the current quarterback, Jared Goff, on board, it could all change. This offense could completely change because you're going to bring in a new guy. You're going to obviously try to keep some of the new of the old stuff that worked, because it's working, especially if you keep the quarterback. If you don't keep the quarterback, you're probably not going to keep, well, vice versa, I guess. If you keep the quarterback, are you going to keep the offense coordinator? If you keep the offense coordinator, you keep the quarterback. It's kind of a back and forth thing. So they really got to they're really careful here, I think, with their decision. There's a really good chance that Ben Johnson's going to go, man. And it's probably not going to make Goff happy. It won't make anybody happy in that offense, to tell you the truth, probably. But it's a business. That's what happens, right? So they really have to be careful with the decisions that they make next year. And I think it can be detrimental to this team. It really could. Like if you lose Ben Johnson and you keep your quarterback, it's a whole new offense coming in. Like I said, so everyone's going to be fired up. Then if you don't keep the quarterback and you keep Ben Johnson, you're bringing in a new quarterback or whatever, you're bringing in new guys. Now it's a whole new starting over process. But that's the way the NFL is. But it's a lot of big decisions that got to be made coming up for the Detroit Lions. And I think this Ben Johnson thing is starting to gain traction. I'm really curious to see where he goes, if he goes anywhere. And I think it's going to be something that this fan base and that this organization really needs to prepare themselves for, because we could see Ben Johnson going bye-bye to another organization, becoming a head coach. So it kind of worries me a bit. It worries me for the development of this offense. It worries me about the quarterback situation. It worries me just an overall offensive problem if this man leaves. I think they really need to somehow keep this man on board. I just don't know how you're going to do it. You're going to have to, I know how you're going to do it. You're going to have to make him assistant head coach. But then you already have one in Deuce Staley. Can you have two? I don't really think you can. You might be able to, though. I don't see why it's an issue. Unless it's a rule that I don't know of. Make him the assistant head coach, because that's the only way you're going to be able to probably stop him from leaving. And then this video doesn't even exist. That's it. Then the worries are washed away. You can keep everything afloat, keep everything good for this organization. If he sticks around, which I really want him to stick around. It's just that it's going to be a decision that really needs to be made, and it's going to be a tough one. But thanks, guys. That's my rant. I probably went on way too long, but that's okay. I had some time, and thanks for paying attention. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys' support. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Get all my videos. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Let everybody know that we need Ben Johnson to stick around. It's good for the offense. It's good for Goff. It's good for everybody. It's really good for this team overall. So thanks a lot, guys. One pride. Go Lions. Ba-bam.